Hello everyone, my name is Tim, this is Mad Max, and this little series I'm going to be trying to run called Spoiler Warning. And the basic premise is I talk about story in video games, and that's about it. I have to say, for a start, disclaimer, I am no expert. I don't know a lot about story in video games. It's not a particular subject that I've studied very much, but I am learning about story in general, and I'll be talking about good story and bad stories, and I want to start with Mad Max because I just finished it last night. I've put 54 hours into it, and the story pissed me off. So, fair warning, spoiler warning for pretty much the entire story of Mad Max. Um, let's get down to it, yeah. Well, let me start off by saying I love the game. I think it's an absolutely brilliant game. I love the way the cars feel when they drive. I love that you have so much customization options that you can pretty much approach any obstacle any way you want to. You know, right now I've got no armor and sort of no ramming grille on the front of the car. If I just stop for a second, jump to the garage and show you that. So this is where the ramming grills are. I can have a huge ass ramming grill that does enormous damage, but I choose not to right now because it's weighty and it slows me down. And this car right now is fantastic at just running away from the enemy. So I tend to just run away from fights rather than really get involved in them. Usually by just going the other way. And then by the time the bad guys have turned around, I'm already miles away. It's really nice. You know, I used to just armor up with the heaviest armor that I could and ram whatever came my way, which also works. So yeah, it's a really nice way of working it because you can just customize on the fly. Like right now, I could just stop. I could throw on, say, that grille and some light armor. I could change the tires because I think I've got the asphalt tires on. Yeah, I want the dune cups, the dirt tires, because I find them a lot better. You know, I could take off the exhaust, I could put on different exhausts, and then I have a completely different car in some ways. You can create a completely different car instantly. You can just go, okay, I want that body and I want that paint, and we'll go for these decals in pink, and we will have the crappy Thunderboons. No, we'll have the good Thunderboons. I'm going to keep all the weapons the same. We'll take off some of the rims though, and we'll only have back specs. Front specs. We'll only have front specs. And suddenly, a whole new car. See, it is very simple. So I'm going to skip ahead to when I've changed back to my original setup there, and we'll carry on talking. Alright, now we're back. So, it's time to talk about the story. So for the first half, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was very interesting and I wanted to see where it was going. You know, you got to go talk to some of the warlords in the region. I think the closest one to me right now is Pinker. So you go talk to the warlords, you get them on your side. Throughout it all, you're doing story missions, getting things set up, and you do the wasteland missions alongside missions for the warlords specifically, and they're always very interesting. The one thing I don't like about the whole wasteland thing is the Crow-Dazzle death runs. I find them either too easy with the Archangels, or too difficult with the random wasteland cars. So they're a bit of a mixed bag, I guess. What else? Story, that's right. So, probably about two-thirds of the way into the story, I got to Gastown. That's because I was spending a lot of time clearing things out. I felt like I needed to get the car up as much as possible to deal with anything, even in Pink Eye's territory, let alone Gastown itself, which is where you're heading to. Oh, I should explain the story first, shouldn't I? Right. Story. Mad Max driving on his car. Lord Scrotus Scabrous, he takes Max's car and tries to kill Max. Only Max escapes. He meets up with Chumbucket here, and they create the Magnum Opus, which is the car I'm currently driving. That's the card that, if you want to use Chum Bucket and all your awesome weapons like the Harpoon and the Thunder Sticks and Sideburners, then you use the Magnum Opus. But Max's Interceptor gets taken, and Max basically vows to kill Scrotus for it. Or at least to try and get his car back. After that, he goes to Jeet, the Warlord, down in the south. We're down there, in the Balefire Flatland. So that's Jeet's stronghold, and he does a few missions for Jeet. Jeet gets him over to Gutgash. Gutgash helps him up to Pink Eye. You got to get Harpoon to get through the Black Gate here. What is it called? It might be called the Black Gate. And then you go up through Deep Fry's territory into Gastown. And then you confront Scrotus's right-hand man, whose name I can never remember. Stank Gun. You got to face Stank Gun in a race and blow up his vehicle, steal the V8 engine, which is the one that I've got right now. As well as that, you get to take the concubine Hope with you. We met her earlier in the story. She's at Gutgash's stronghold, and you help her escape from prison, or at least her child. She asks you to go and find her child because her child has gone missing. She's lost her child while she's been captured as a prize for the races, and you find her child. You get them back together, and that's all we see of them. This is my main problem with it: is the concubine Hope, her daughter Glory. You see them for minutes. And bear in mind, this is a game I've played for over 50 hours. This is my second most played game after Fallout 4, which I have put over 100 hours into. You know, Fallout 3, which I made a series of, that has not had as many hours played as this. I have played this a lot, and we see them in the story for minutes at best. I cannot emphasize to you how bad a decision that was. Like, it means that we don't have these three-dimensional characters. This goes against everything that Fury Road tells us about Max. Let me put that out there. The game is trying to set up, oh yeah, you want Max and Hope to be together, and no, I don't even know Hope. You've just thrown her in there. And this is my problem with it. Yeah, this is my problem with the story, is there's no stakes where Hope and Glory are involved. She could have been such a great character. She has this really awesome fan that I thought was some sort of weapon, and presumably is. You know, she's not allowed to have any agency beyond helping Max. And she is one of, with her daughter, they are two of only 4 female characters in this entire thing. Of them all, the best is probably Pink Eye. Yeah, okay, the game just crashed. That is, in its defense, only the second time it has done that. But back on to the subject, which is Pink Eye. Pink Eye's stronghold is the one I have just left. She has probably, of the 4 warlords, she has probably the most action-packed entrance. Because you meet her as she is fighting off an attack by Stank Gun. And after that, she is the one who helps you out the most. I mean, Jeet will get you the armory project, but I found that less useful than the tyres that you get from Pink Eye. Pink Eye gives you the best tyres in the game, the asphalt tyres that are the top ones, which I'm not such a fan of, but they do come in handy when doing story races, because they are the best for racing around tracks. But yeah, Pink Eye is probably the strongest female character, but that's not saying a lot when the only others you meet for literally minutes.
Like the war boy. Oh, you win! It's I got one of us! What up for you, bro?
Yeah, very typical sort of parry system. You get the Fury mode, which basically gives you slightly stronger attacks. I found in the later game it doesn't make much difference, because I'm already doing about 4 hits to take them down, and then Fury mode it's just another 4 hits. The difference is things like the Fury ground executions, which let you straight up kill people if you press the E button in their direction. and they basically turn into a cutscene, so you can't get hit while doing them. And that's probably the main difference, but at the same time you've got Shiv punishers, which amount to pretty much the same thing, I guess. Although they do use up the Shivs in the bottom right down there. Back to the story. Yeah, Max's motivation in all this literally was just to get his car back at the start. He gets his car back. He gets the V8 engine. Lord Scrotus tries to kill him again. And I think that should have been his further motivation for killing Lord Scrotus. It didn't need Hope as motivation for killing Scrotus. And if you were going to do that, you should have introduced Hope in Jeet's stronghold. And maybe given her a few more lines than the, what, dozen that she got? I mean, if Pink Eye had died, I would have understood, you know. I would have been after him as well. But no, it's Hope and Glory, who Max has known for all of, 10 minutes. So, I don't get why he's so upset, except that some sort of weird Wastelander vision told him that he should marry Hope. They are one-dimensional characters that were put in there to be a love interest and subsequently revenge fuel for Max. And it felt shitty. It felt shitty. I felt like I just used them by the end of the story, you know? Let's carry on, because I've banged on about that enough. Right, so, you find Lord Scrotus. The mission is to kill his land mover, as he calls it. It's not even that big. It's not that great of a land mover. So, you do that, and you've got to do specific things to win boss fight. And after that, you get into a cutscene which basically says, right, so Scrotus's land mover is on the edge of a cliff, and it's sort of teetering. It could go at any moment, and Max decides to ram it with the magnum opus here to ram it off the cliff. The problem with that is that would destroy the magnum opus as well, and Chumbucket loves that car. You know, he loves this car, and so he sits on the front and he's like, no, don't do it, I love this car, and this car is amazing, it's better than your Interceptor. It is, by the way, better than the Interceptor. Way better. Max does it anyway. You have to do it as Max, and I didn't want to, but there's no way out of it. You've got to do it, and it fucking sucks. Anyway, so Chumbucket dies at the end, and oh, by the way, there he is, at the back, still here, still talking. I love Chumbucket as a character, instantly. I think he's a brilliant character. But, you know, he dies at the end, for no reason. Like, I don't get it. Because Max literally does everything wrong in... It's so un-Mad Max, right? If you look at the events of Fury Road, this takes place after Fury Road. And he's just not... He's not good. He's not Max. He's not the post-Fury Road Max. Like, it forces you to be the horrible person. It stops him being the decent character he could be. Because it puts him in your control and says, alright, ram his wagon off the cliff. You have no choice in this. You have to do it, but you can just stop and sit for a while before you do it if you want. And it does that. And I absolutely hate it, because it's the worst section in there, because honestly I didn't feel like that was the direction the story should have gone in. So yeah, the magnum opus is destroyed, so is the wagon, but guess what? Scrotus has an extra car, and oh look, it's Max's Interceptor. And it's just... So you gotta fight Scrotus in Max's Interceptor, and it is the most weak-ass boss fight ever. Like, I cannot comprehend what they were thinking when they came up with this boss fight, because it's literally throw thunder sticks at the Interceptor until you win. And that's it. That's the boss fight. It's not even, you know, Scrotus doesn't get out at the end and you have to fight him mano a mano. as we've shown the game can do really well. The boss fights, a lot of the boss fights in this have been really good. Frustrating, some of them, because they're rather difficult, and they do throw you in with a ton of other sort of enemies. And then with Scrotus, it's just like, oh yeah, no, you can't take him on. You're not going to be able to win. So, and I've already won against Scrotus, like, twice. But the game doesn't want you to just fight Scrotus. It doesn't want you to go one-on-one with him. And it would have been such a great boss fight. And it wasn't. It was just throw some sticks at a car until it explodes. And it takes 3 sticks. It was the most boring, unsatisfying boss fight I've ever done. At the end, Max kills Scrotus in a cutscene. You don't even get to kill Scrotus yourself. And it's ostensibly for the revenge of Hope and Glory, who is known for 10 minutes. Which, no, that is the worst storyline ever. Because 10 minutes. And then you get the Interceptor. And yeah, okay, it's an alright car, but that's about the best I can say for it. You know, it's no magnum opus. This thing is a V8 beast now. Why would I want the Interceptor when I could have had Chum? And I think they went in completely the wrong direction with the story. So here is how I would fix it. Scrotus has captured Hope and Glory. Let's say that instead, you know, and he's going to do horrible, horrible things to them, but Max gets there in time, and he has to leap onto the land mover before it falls off the cliff. Not only that, he does that, he defeats Scrotus. Scrotus is up there still, maybe pinned down or something, but trying to escape. Scrotus escapes after the fight. Max gets Hope and Glory off and into the car, and then Scrotus comes out in the incinerator, in the Interceptor. I want to call it the Incinerator, I don't know why. So, you know, Max and Scrotus have this big road fight, Interceptor versus Magnum Opus. And, you know, then the Interceptor explodes. The Interceptor is gone.
Yes, I'm a protector, Sam.
And Max is sad about that, but Scrotus still survives. And Scrotus is still planning to do horrible, horrible things to them all. So Max gets out of the Magnum Opus, he tells Chum to get away, and it's just Max and Scrotus, mano a mano, for the final fight. Everyone is safe and happy, and it's a decent ending, you know? Hope and Glory go back to Deep Friar, or they take over one of the other strongholds or something, and they rule it like, kindly, I don't know. You know, Max and Chum Bucket go off or something, because Max still needs a car. He hasn't got the Interceptor anymore, and the Magnum Opus is there, and you still get the Interceptor at the end because it's a bonus vehicle. Why not? And it's just, you know, it could have been so much better, but it's like revenge fuel, not, oh, Max decides he wants to try and make a life somewhere, rather than being this wasteland mercenary killer no better than anyone else. Because that was the thing about Max, is he was always sort of the better man. You know, he was the one who was helping people. He was the one who was doing things for others. Where everyone else was, you know, out for themselves. And Max was always ended up, if not better off, then he ended up superior. He was the moral center of the movies, and in this he's just sort of not. He's not very moral at all. And yeah, it's just, it was a really disappointing ending to the story to have, oh, everyone dies, but Max gets his car back, when it should have been the other way around. It should have been the car dies, but Max gets everyone. You know, he gets Chum, he gets Hope, he gets Glory, he gets the Magnum Opus. Because that was the ending it was leading up to. You know, it was the Fury Road ending. The, oh, Max's car is gone, Max's own car has been destroyed. He's helped people. And that should be the end goal here, is, oh, not Max got his car back, but oh, Max helped people. Max decided that people were worth more than a car. You know, that should have been the takeaway from this game, but it's not. Instead, we got to take away that, oh, it's all okay because Max still has his Interceptor, and look, you can still play with your Magnum Opus at the end. And you don't give us stakes, like, because there's no stakes in the ending either. It doesn't matter what happens, because Chum is still back. I bet if I went... I wonder if I went to Deepfriar's place if Hope and Glory would be back, because they give you some Wasteland missions. I wonder if they would be. I have really ragged on the story a bit, haven't I? It deserves it. It really does. It's not a good story. It could have been. As I say, the ending, if he changed it so it was the other way around, it could have been a great story, but... No, they went. The car is the important bit, when it's not. You know, Max doesn't need the Interceptor. He needs people. Because without people, he does go a bit crazy. And this is the Interceptor. And it's slower than the Magnum Opus. It's less heavily armoured than the Magnum Opus. Let's head back up to Pink Eye's territory, because I rather like Pink Eye's territory. It's got none of the weapons that the Magnum Opus does. It's just not as good. It's a terrible, terrible car. Alright, it's a nice thing to get at the end, because it's a nice bit of the Mad Max lore, but it doesn't feel as good when you've only got it because of the very things Fury Road tells us Max is fighting against. So that was Mad Max. This was a spoiler warning. And yeah, that was a whole lot about how terrible I find the story of Mad Max. So next time we do one of these, which will hopefully be next week, it will be something I enjoy, a story I enjoy. So I look forward to that. And I will see you guys next time. My name is Tim. This has been Mad Max. Goodbye.